I just want to thank everybody for raising their hand and participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Hey everybody, glad you're joining us today. I have a very special honor to have a conversation with someone who's highly important in my life. They've been a mentor, a role model, a father figure, a friend, a spiritual leader, and overall just an amazing human being. So I am here talking today with Eddie Rivera. So Eddie, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you inviting me today.
Of course, of course. You know, I love surrounding myself with amazing people. I start collecting people. That's something I've learned from you, actually, and you're definitely someone that I've loved collecting in my life. So to get started, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
How far do you want me to go?
I mean, we can go back as far as you want.
Let's see. So I was born and raised in the island of Puerto Rico. And so I came to the United States when I was 17 years old. I had $50 in my pocket, one-way ticket to Los Angeles, and I didn't speak a word of English. And the reason I left was not because I didn't like I love my island. It's beautiful, Puerto Rico. If you ever had an opportunity to visit Puerto Rico, please do so, because it's an absolutely beautiful island. But unfortunately, at that stage of my life, I encountered some challenges. And one of them was I was physically and mentally and otherwise abused by a relative. And I was pretty much had to escape to go to a different place because I knew that if I stayed, I don't know what the outcome of my life would have been. But when I was 7 years old, I had this dream. And the dream was that I find myself, I could always see myself, and I had that dream several times. I always found myself in front of people. And I could not fully understand what that meant because I was so young. And there was so much going on. But anyways, I arrived to Los Angeles, California, and I started my career in banking, working as a proof operator on the back of a branch. And the reason they put me there is because since I didn't speak any English, I was doing, data entry, and that I could do. And so I worked for Bank of America, and I built a career for many, many years, up to the point that I became a supervisor and whatnot. Then I transitioned from banking, came to Las Vegas, what was supposed to be 3 weeks, and 3 weeks turned out to be a lifetime. I've been here since 1989, never left. And when I came here, I came with Citibank, and then from Citibank, I met some people along the way. And this is really interesting, Stephen, because you never know who you're going to meet along the way that is going to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. And in my case, how I got to Las Vegas is nothing but a miracle, right? But I left banking and I went into the medical field. And the reason I went to the medical field is not because I had any experience in the medical field, but I went to my doctor to get a physical because I was getting ready to move back to California.
Okay.
Because I figured, okay, completed my work here, going back to California.
Bye-bye, Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
and so I'm sitting there with my doctor, and I told him that, hey, I just want to get a regular checkup because I'm going to move back to California. He goes, no, you can't do that with all your experience in operations and banking and whatnot. I think you'll be great helping us here in the medical practice. I was like, are you insane? I don't know anything about medicine. And he goes, precisely. And he takes me out of the exam room into his father's room. Well, it was a medical practice owned by his dad, his mom, also a doctor, him a doctor. His sister was a doctor, and his sister married a doctor. So it's a
full family
owned and operated. And he takes me into Dr. Jacobs' office, and I'm sitting there, and he goes, how can I help you? I said, I don't know. Your son thinks to believe that I can do something here. And that conversation was supposed to be a 90-day contract, turned out to be 11 years. I managed medical practice for 11 years.
Wow.
And so that was like the trajectory of my life. From there, I went to hospitality. I opened Bellagio in 1998. I landed in hospitality because I met a lady getting my hair cut. And she's talking to me about, hey, we're opening this hotel, which was it. She didn't release the name of the hotel. And I think you'll be great. I was like, oh, no. Hospitality, you guys are 24/7. I don't do 24/7. I'm a banker, working medical. I'm a 9 to 5 kind of guy.
Yeah, and my weekends off.
Yeah, I like that. Long story short, I opened Bellagio in 98. And then from there, it's just this trajectory. Every person that I met along the way, do not underestimate the value of the people that you come in contact with on a daily basis. I mean, getting my hair cut, right? So I'm working at Bellagio. My VP of HR walks into my office and says to me, hey, I understand that our engineers, because I used to manage the engineering department, and I was a training manager at the time. He goes, all of our engineers, 365 engineers, are stopped coming to HR. And we don't understand why. But then I heard from them that they come to you. And I said, well, they come here, they want to have a conversation, they have some questions or some issues, and I just kind of sit down and help them out. I said, well, they're not coming to us anymore. And so how would you like to start going, working in HR? And I'm like, okay. And see, you have to be open to the possibilities.
Absolutely.
You have to be open to receive. And from the moment that I left Puerto Rico and I came to the United States, I had this idea that I was willing and open to receive and learn and continue learning. And so that led me into a career in hospitality. So I worked for MGM Resorts International as a director of HR for all the entities of MGM Resorts, 2,500 employees. And then one day I decided that I was going to take a break. And then left Puerto Rico, went to Puerto Rico to visit my mom. She was very ill, so I had to take a break. And when I came back, I got a call from someone that I used to work with and says to me, hey, Eddie, I'm putting together this workshop as a leadership workshop for this other company, and I would really like for you to help me put it together. I said, 4 workshops for 3 days for the entire management team. And I said, sounds good. I'm an instructional designer, and so I said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Why not? And then I ended up doing that workshop with her, 4 workshops for 3 days, left, and I get a call from the general manager of the hotel. And he says to me, hey, Eddie, you have time for coffee. Don't refuse a cup of coffee. I'm telling you. And if you don't drink coffee, you better start drinking coffee.
Or have some tea.
Yeah, or have some tea. But if you get invited, just say yes. Yeah, I'm there. And so I went and sat down with him, had coffee, and he said, hey, our director of HR decided to move to Santa Barbara, and the team that knows you already because you did the workshops are curious and wanted to know if you'll be interested in the role. And I'm like, sure, let's go for it. And I became the the HR director for Four Seasons Hotel. Except there was a dream in my heart when I was very young, and I had this dream that, like I mentioned, that I found myself in front of people. Mm-hmm. And I said, I got to do this. So I quit my job. I actually resigned from my job at Four Seasons as a director of HR. And I said, I want to become a coach. I want to be able to share my life journey, my life story with others. Being a Hispanic, being a minority, I knew that I could influence change in the life of others that had the same trajectory, the same life and challenges that I faced. How can I influence that? Because it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And so 2014, I became an executive coach, and I've been doing that since.
That is so amazing. There's so many things you talked about there, but one thing that I really want to kind of hone in on is this idea of being aware of your surroundings. And I know you actually have a saying that you use for that, right? Or the initials for so long on your license plate are ER, right?
Yeah.
And I like to joke with you. I was like, man, how vain is this guy? He's got his initials on his license plate, and come to find out that is not what ER stands for. So tell me a little bit about that.
No, it's not. And it's a coincidence that the initials on my license plate happen to be connected with my name, Eddie Rivera, so ER. Mm-hmm. But what it stands for is for environmental radar. And so for me, every time I walk into my car, it's an anchor because I get to see the ER. What's the environment look like around you? What do people hear you say? What do people see you do? And when you live in that space of knowledge and understanding, it's like here right now, having this conversation, I want to make sure that my words, whatever I put out there, have a significant impact on someone. I don't control the impact. I don't control how people feel they receive it. But if there's one person sitting in this room, or any room that I have the opportunity to speak at, and one person says to me, I want to continue talking to you, or thank you for saying that because it resonated with me. I needed to hear those words. And so that is what my driving force. So that ER is significant, environmental radar.
I love that. I love hearing that. And I know it's in my time working with you that it's been really amazing to help understand that. But I also see it, right? Like even when we came into the building today, right? This amazing awareness of other individuals, this amazing appreciation, I think is probably a good way to put it, right? Like there's this appreciation for other people, this appreciation for your surroundings.
Well, I think it's that, but also we continue to lose that beautiful ability that we have as humans to honor each other. And for me to be in this room in the presence of all of you it's an honor and a privilege, but I need to honor you. I need to honor every single person, so I get to honor all those individuals that I come in contact with. And so for me, it's a privilege to do the work that I do. And so I don't take it for granted. And so I'm very aware of my surroundings all the time. Wherever I'm at, I want to make sure that I'm honoring the people around me first. And so to elevate them to a higher level of consciousness. And when you do that, at the same time, you realize that you influence and change. Because when people see you do certain things and they make them feel good about themselves, my hope is that you continue doing that. That when you find yourself in spaces that you walk into a room, and it could be very awkward where you don't know anyone, you walk in there. See, I can walk into a room and meet 25, 30 people in like 10 seconds. We used to be doing that.
You have an innate skill for that.
I embrace the moment, I embrace the space, and I open myself to the possibilities of honoring others. And when you live your life from that perspective, everything changes. And so, that's what the ER is for.
No, I really love hearing that. And, it's interesting because this conversation is coming about that idea of honoring someone. In particular, I met you, 5, 6 years ago now. And it was really amazing to see the impact you've made in other people's lives, the impact you've made in my life. But this idea of honoring came around because many of the people you've met and you've helped in life, as you know, I've nicknamed them Eddie's kids. I think it was when we were working together at US Bank and you were the executive coach there. And I had so many opportunities to get you in the community, to introduce you to people who I thought were going to be new people to you. And I'm not even exaggerating. It was like a 50% chance you had already known the individual, right, when I went to introduce you to people. And so that's why I started nicknaming him Eddie's kids. And then that came about when one of Eddie's kids, who I've never met, never known before, who you've actually never met in person either,
we haven't met.
Reached out to me and said, I want to honor Eddie Rivera. Right? And so that's kind of what started all of these things of how do I honor someone well, right? And that's where I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like what you've been talking about and the way that I can best sum it up is the life you've lived is you are truly trying to pursue a life of excellence. And I feel like I've heard that so far, but could you talk a little bit more about that? Would you say that's fair and accurate, or how would you define it?
Yeah, and what's interesting about living a life of excellence is not about excellence is not about accomplishing or being better than others. Excellence is about acknowledging your values, your growth, and in that space, excellence becomes about the work that you do day in and day out. And some people misunderstand excellence by like an achievement, like receiving an award, and that's
some type of result.
Yeah, something so tangible, right? To be in the like in the industry, movie industry, people do these movies and they put a lot of work, and all they're looking for is, do I get an Oscar? Do I get a Grammy? Do I get an Emmy? Right? And so it's more than that. And so you have to wake up every morning. It's about your intention. I'm very intentional about what I do. Every morning when I wake up, what are my intentions for today? As I was, driving here, what are my intentions for today with you and with Elias earlier is I'm here to give. I'm here to give. I'm here to give out of myself. So it's got to be a very selfless journey. And excellence is a side effect of the work that you do. And I see excellence on the people that it's interesting about Eddie's kids, I'm not so sure that I'm the one who did all that work. I was there to guide them in their journey. The achievement is theirs, not mine. I'm just that catalyst. I want to be that conduit. I want to be that individual that influences the way, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's a quote by Dr. Dreyer. It's not my quote, but it's powerful to know that every day you have the opportunity to make a significant contribution in the life of those that you have the privilege to be in front of, but that you can walk away and don't get the accolades. And you know this because how many times I said to you, it's not about me. It's too self-serving. I can't do that. That's not what I'm looking for. But the work that I do is I'm just passing on the skills, the knowledge, talents, and expertise that I have acquired throughout the years. And if you choose to make different choices, if you choose a different path that is of growth and development and success, that's excellence.
I really like that. And I've had an opportunity to have some deep conversations with some of the individuals that you've been a coach with, that you've even identified as impactful in your life. And they shared a lot of what you said there about a guide more than, right? Like anything else, like helping them identify it within themselves. You also touched on something there about excellence is about the values, right? So if you were to identify, what do you believe are the important values that an individual needs to hold in order to pursue a life of excellence?
Your belief system. Check your belief system. Values of intentionality, growth, and joy. You gotta enjoy what you do through the process, but be very intentional about everything that you do. And that starts, like I said, declare your intentions. I declare my intentions. What are my intentions with this? What is the outcome that I'm expecting? But what is the impact that the work that I do, the things that I say, my actions could have either a negative impact or they have a positive impact. So focus on your values. Identify your core value. And when you identify that core value, and we all have them. I mean, if I said to you, give me a list of your values, we're going to make a list, right?
Yeah.
But there's one particular value that if I ask all of you, identify your core value, just one, that makes you who you are, what you are, and the vision for the future. And you start thinking about one core value, what would that be? And for me, it has always been giving. Because I received so much throughout the years. I had to become the man that I became because I have to collect the pieces of my broken life. I've been broke and I've been broken. And I collected the pieces of my broken life so I can become the masterpiece that God created me to be. And so in that space, you acknowledge, you receive that, and you go, can I be the catalyst, the conduit for others so they get to experience the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment that I have experienced? And so you pour and you give. But giving is, you got to give from your heart. So being a giver rather than a receiver. You will receive.
Yeah.
In His grace, God has given us different gifts for us to do certain things well. Romans 12:6. And I focus on that. I read that all the time. What are the gifts that you have been given? What are the talents that you have? And can I tap into those talents? And can those talents influence others' lives? And if you're able to do that through your entire life and your career, that level of fulfillment that you feel, it's something that you do. Like, I was at home yesterday. I saw something on LinkedIn. A professor posted something about a workshop that I did a few days ago. And I just sat there. In that moment, I said, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do the work that I do. Thank you for allowing me to continue to impact other people's lives. There's not enough money in the world. There's no accolades or awards more significant just to see that picture of all the faces of all the students and, the feedback of them connecting with me or talking to me afterwards and what it meant to them. There's no greater moment in your life than that.
I love hearing that, right? That we talk about generosity, right? The gift is in the giving. And it sounds like, if I'm correct, that generosity leads directly to gratitude. So what type of role has gratitude played in your life?
Essential. I wake up in the morning and my first words are, thank you for another day. I'm grateful for every morning that I wake up. I'm grateful that I was able to wake up this morning and get ready and drive here. I mean, driving in Las Vegas is becoming a little challenging, right? And so I'm grateful that I'm able to still do the work that I do. But what I'm most grateful for is that I still have the capacity of learning. I'm still learning every day. I mean, I read a lot, I write a lot, as you know. I do a lot of writing. It was fascinating because I don't edit my own work. Because still English is a second
English
language.
is still that second language, yeah.
Yeah, but I want to be able to live behind something that people will remember me by, and that the work that I did was impactful, was significant. And that everything that you read in those words is the story of my life and the lives of the people that I have the privilege to be in contact with. And so it's not all about me. When you start thinking from that space that me, you're living in a silo. But when you begin to open that door a little wider every day, every time, and then bring people into existence and welcome them into your space, I believe that one day they will make the same choice and they will welcome others into their space. And so it continues. So living a life of excellence comes down to continue doing the work, impacting others, but understanding that it's not all about you. It's all about the impact that you have on those that you have the privilege to be in contact with, and identify those skills and knowledge and talents that you possess. How can I utilize what I have to make a significant contribution to the world, to make a contribution to my community, to make a significant contribution to Nevada partners, because we're here, right? And so you have to open the mind to the possibilities and see life, living, loving, and learning from that lens. And when you open that lens, you become an activator of all that. You get to work through all that, and you get in the midst of other people, and you can walk away that continue to do the work.
That's amazing, right? I think that really touches into legacy, the idea of how are we remembered, what are we leaving behind. If you were to try to sum up how you want to be remembered, or what's the legacy you want to live, how would you state that as simply as possible?
And I think all the elements that we have talked about, right? That if you find yourself in a place, and I just had a great conversation with a young lady sitting here in the audience today, and we're talking about the fact that, hey, I'm trying to learn English, and my English is broken. And I said, but you're here. You made that choice. Continue making that choice. Continue moving forward. Don't let the circumstances define you or confine you. Make them refine you. This today is a moment of refinement, even for myself, just that I'm here and I get to hear your story and what you're doing and the direction that you're going. And immediately I go into, how can I assist? You know, a gentleman asked a question earlier, and I just went over and talked to him. Hey, what's your short goal? We start talking about that. He's excited about that. That's what's significant. That's what's meaningful. So I'm not so sure that is how I want to be remembered. I want people to remember the lessons. I want people to remember the learnings. I want people to remember the joy of doing work and feeling very proud of the work they're doing. I just happen to be a conduit to that. And if they just happen to remember one day that 10 years ago, I met this guy, he was my coach, he had a funny accent, but he said something that really resonated with me. Short story, I had a student in 2011 at the Hotel College at UNLV. I was a guest speaker in her class, and I used this phrase that says, live every day with intention. Mm-hmm. Live every day with intention, which we talked about a few seconds ago, right? And so what did she do? She tattooed that right here backwards. You know why? So she can read it when she gets ready in the morning in the mirror. Today, she is an HR manager at the Sphere. If you look on her LinkedIn, the banner says, live every day with intention. Wow. So it's something that resonates with you. Hang on to that. It's yours. No one can touch that. and move forward and have a clear vision for the future. That's a legacy. That's your legacy. The work that you do day in and day out, the moments, this moment for me is just absolutely wonderful. I don't need to get paid. I don't need a plaque. I don't need accolades. I don't need an award. But I can drive home today, and I'm telling you, the moment of joy that I'm feeling right now, just looking at your faces, that fulfills me. And I just hope that one day, and when I walked in here, I said hello to a lady at the front, and immediately she came out of her office, and she just gave me this big hug.
I mean, she leapt out of her seat
She
when she
just
saw you.
and she's a lot taller than me, by the way. And I'm like, oh my God. That's a moment. Life is not but a series of moments. And there's a great book titled The Power of Moments. It's written by two brothers. And if you get a hold of that book, it's absolutely, you can find a summary. It's just powerful. It's fantastic. What are the moments that you live in today? What are the moments that you are creating? I get this question all the time, Eddie, I wish I was like you. I say, oh no, you don't want to be like me. I'm going to be 70 years old. I'm 69 years old. I have a heart condition. Do you really want that? You know, we have this tendency of want to be like other people. No, be the best you can be. No one is going to beat you at being you. Honor you, love you, care for you. Because if you do that, then you'll find yourself taking care of others, loving others, being there for others, right? So you have to pour into yourself knowledge and skills and talents, right? And learnings. And then one day you get to give that away. I give that away to my clients. I give that away to my students. And it's just an absolutely wonderful moment. I had a moment a few days ago at UNLV. This young lady came to me and she goes, thank you. I said, for what? Because when I came here, I wasn't sure if I was going to continue with the university. But after what you said, I'm moving forward. That's what's meaningful. I don't know what her journey is going to be like, and I don't know if I'm going to be connected with her. I hope we stay connected. But the fact that she made a decision, she made a choice between stimulus and response, there's that space in between. And it's the power to choose.
Yeah.
Choose differently. Choose you. Choose happiness. Choose joy. Choose fulfillment. Have a vision that is bigger than this room. Have a goal that is so huge and keep it to yourself. Sometimes we just have to, some things you have to keep to yourself. Because when you share too much negativity comes around. Negative people want to make people negative. It's the people that say to you, oh my God, you'll never get to do that. Are you crazy? That's too much. Oh, are you serious? Oh, no. Why would you do that? You know why they say that? Because they themselves, they don't know how to get there. They don't know how to do it. And they're jealous. Move forward. Do what's in your heart. Do what you love. Everything else will follow.
That's some amazing advice. So as you know, one of the things I'm thrilled to be doing is working on creating a nonprofit, right, around the idea of pursuing a life of excellence through self-empowerment and through education. You said you're currently pursuing your PhD, and I have a feeling that probably won't even be the last degree you're pursuing at this rate, right? We'll probably add something else to it there. As we create this and we identify who the first beneficiary will be, and they receive that award, what words of advice would you give to not only that individual, but any individual who becomes a beneficiary from the foundation we create?
When you give, if you become the beneficiary of anything in your life, turn around and say, how can I give to others of what I've received? The beauty of that is it becomes this beautiful cycle of giving. So when you learn, teach. When you give. And if you live in that space, every recipient should receive that and say, I am going to receive a scholarship and I'm going to complete this degree. And I ask the students all the time, once you get your degree, what are you going to do with it? Personally, professionally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually. Break it down. Be very clear about the journey ahead, about the path. A lot of people achieve something and then they stop. And then things don't work out because they stop. They stop learning. They stop listening. So my guidance to these recipients will be, now that you have received, make sure that you understand that when you get, we must give. And I think it changes the perspective of the receiving. We received a life. My life is God's gift to me. What I do with it is my gift back to Him, but not directly to Him. It's by giving to His children. And you called my kids. And thank you, that's very thoughtful. But the reality is, I didn't do the work.
Yeah.
They are doing the work. They are moving forward. They are achieving. And when they find themselves kind of like sometimes derailing, that's when I come in and go, no, wait a second, where do you think you're going? And I'm very, by the way, I'm an accountability partner.
You know what, you definitely are. And the one thing that has been a constant is, well, actually, I would say twofold about that. One, everybody has said that Eddie is very direct and blunt when it comes to redirecting you on your path.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a loving and caring way that they're so amazed with that, right? And I think the second thing that was really amazing is everybody that I've spoke with, and I believe this to my core as well, truly believes your authenticity. The idea that you would never ask anyone to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself, or you never give any advice from anything that you haven't personally learned from yourself. And so there's this authenticity and this genuine nature to that bluntness that is very welcoming and warming.
Yeah, so let's break this down because there's two areas there. So when you don't hold others accountable, they lose respect from you. When you don't hold yourself accountable, you're disrespecting yourself.
That's powerful.
So hold yourself accountable. First, I have to hold myself accountable for my actions, for what I do. Am I perfect? Guys, I'm telling you, I have made so many mistakes throughout my life. But the learning that came from that got me where I am today. But I'm holding myself accountable first. Who am I to hold you accountable when I don't hold myself accountable? And if you see me doing something and me not holding accountability of myself, I have probably destroyed everything that I've done.
Yeah.
But when you don't hold others accountable, they lose respect for you. But the level of accountability exists because it's very easy for all of us, and I include myself because this is what I've been through, that we give ourselves an out. If there's a possibility to not do something, we'll find a way not to, rather than looking for a reason to.
Yeah.
And so we have a tendency of doing that. We look for, well, I don't have the time, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too tall. I mean, we find every excuse possible. Empower yourself, not your reasons and excuses. But we give so much power to others, or we give so much power to events and situations and things. Instead of saying, wait a second, I'm going to empower myself to see the situation from a completely different lens. So when it comes to accountability, absolutely. What was the other?
Authenticity.
When you walk into a situation, a room, a conversation, you have to come from that place of who you are, what you are, and where you're going, because it could destroy you. But more so, you can destroy somebody's life. If you have the privilege to coach, if you have the privilege to mentor others, always remember, you influence change. They're trusting you with the advice. And there's been times that I say to a client, hey, listen, that is not my expertise. As much as I would love to help you with that, I set boundaries, certain boundaries. I know you have another coach coming to speak today. What's his line of work?
Mindset coach.
Mindset coach, right? I might say, listen, I think you need to talk to this other individual. I happen to know who he is. He does excellent work in that area. And so I will say, you might want to have a conversation with this mind coach, Sean, with Sean. I have no problem. I say, Sean, by the way, I have a potential client. Let me give you a little background. I cannot disclose personal things for confidentiality and privacy. However, I believe that a conversation with you might be worth it for this person. So I'm going to, are you open to that? Yeah. And she says, absolutely, I would love to have a conversation. It doesn't mean that Sean is going to be the person that is going to help that individual, but somebody says, you know what, but I know someone else that can. And so what that person now finds is that there's people out there willing to help, that have the skill set, the expertise, and the knowledge. I'm very knowledgeable. I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't have all the knowledge. I have great experience. I've been around for a long time, but I don't have all the experience. How many times I had a conversation with you, hey, I'm going to defer you to Stephen because that's his area of expertise.
I was going to say, I'm a business coach when it comes to the mind.
Exactly.
When it comes to the
so
part,
I found my lane, and but I've been around long enough to assess, evaluate, but also recommend. And so let me recommend for you to speak to this person. I don't do referrals. Referrals has a quid pro quo attached to it. Meaning, if you do that for me, then the expectations that no. I don't do that. I don't do quid pro quos. I simply say I will make a recommendation that you speak with Sean in this case, right? Because Sean happens to be in the audience today, and then have a conversation with him. I don't know if he's going to be able to assist you, but I think he's open to. I talked to him. He's open to have a conversation. Are you open to that conversation? Open your mind. Open your heart. Because you never know that the answer is so near. I love the fact people are looking for guidance.
Yeah.
That's the first step. And then I really direct all the time.
Yeah, I think that requires a high level of self-awareness, right? The idea of truly knowing yourself, understanding not just your strengths, your weaknesses, but your limitations.
Yeah, and I think high level of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is something that we work on every day. It's not something, I'm going to go to this course, emotional intelligence, and I'm an expert.
Wait, you mean I'm not
no,
done
you're
already?
Not. No, you're not. It requires constant work. I'm still working. I'm still learning. I study a lot. I read a lot. I write a lot. I write because I have to do research for the work that I do. And in that research, you learn. Right? And so it's about understanding who you are, what you are, but it's not all about you. But you have to learn the skills, have the knowledge to recognize it's not about you.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of he-goes and she-goes. And when you let your he-go or she-go get in the way, I'm telling you, you're going to hit a brick wall. Not a lot of people are going to like you, first of all, right? Get your she-go or your he-go out of the way. Be your authentic self. Be the best you can be. And when you show up 100%. And if you're not 100%, you might say, listen, I'm not ready for that conversation right now. Can we postpone that? I need to do some reflection here. But if you go out there just to impress others and you make it about yourself, you're going to hit a brick wall. And that's a lot of people that fail in business, and they fail in their careers, and they fail in academia, and they fail in their personal lives because we become so self-centered. Give me, wanna. Go with an attitude of giving and see what happens. Starting today. How can I impact somebody's life today? It doesn't matter what that is. A phone call. Maybe somebody that I haven't spoken to for a long time, maybe because there was a breakup or something. You know what? Maybe that person's not willing to receive, but you're willing to give. And if they don't respond, that's on them, not on you.
Yeah.
I can go on, but sorry.
No, I really love that. You've given so much wisdom today. I continue to learn more from you every time we interact. And so more than anything, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for who you continue to be. And thank you for that continued desire to give. I've learned so much from that, and I know that in my own personal life, that generosity has been one of the most important values that I carry. So to everybody that was here today, we want to just say thank you so much. We're glad you were able to join us, and keep on the lookout for something big happening within the next year, definitely within a year. So.